Have you ever wished you could become unshakable, like truly unbothered by rejection, criticism, loss, or betrayal? Ever dreamed of the day where you don't feel that quiet, aching pain anymore, the kind you carry silently, even when you smile and pretend everything's fine? Maybe you're just tired of trying to keep everyone happy, tired of maintaining this image of strength 24/7, when in reality all you really want is a moment to breathe, to rest, to stop carrying the weight of being unbreakable. So here's something you probably haven't heard enough, and maybe no one has ever told you this plainly. As long as you try to avoid pain, it will continue to control you. As long as you keep trying to numb it, escape it, hide from it, you'll stay trapped by words that wound, by actions that disappoint, by silences that feel like daggers. And that's not weakness, that's the human experience. The only difference is some people just got better at hiding it. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in depth psychology, once said, "We are not what happens to us, we are what we choose to become." That's the key. It's not about shutting yourself off from the world or becoming cold, hard, untouchable. It's about integrating, bringing to light everything you've been keeping buried in the dark. Because real strength isn't about never hurting, it's about being fully aware of who you are even when you're in pain. If you're still watching, I know it's not by accident. This is for you, the version of you that's tired of always being the one who hurts, always feeling like you're at a disadvantage emotionally, like people have some kind of strange power over you that you don't understand. I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be that way. But to get there, you have to be willing to face a few hard truths. And yeah, some of them might hurt. But this time that hurt could actually set you free. Let's start here. You think what hurts you is what people do, their actions, their words, their betrayals. But the real pain, it doesn't come from them. It comes from what those experiences trigger inside you. The stories you attach to them, the wounds they touch, the unresolved pieces of you that you've hidden under layers of strength. And I'm fine. Jung taught that what we feel when the world hurts us is actually just a reflection of what we haven't yet integrated inside ourselves. That's why some people go through total disasters and stay grounded while others spiral over a single comment. It's not what happened, it's where it hit you. Now here's the uncomfortable truth you still suffer because deep down you still believe you can control how others treat you. You think if you're good enough, strong enough, smart enough, understanding enough, maybe no one will hurt you. But that's an illusion. And as long as you're chasing control, you'll stay tense, always trying to predict the unpredictable, avoid the inevitable. And that's exhausting. So how do you stop suffering? You stop trying to protect yourself from suffering. What you need isn't more control, it's more awareness. Because as long as you think people need to change in order for you to stop feeling pain, you're giving them your power. But the moment you realize that nothing outside of you can touch you unless it finds something unhealed inside, that's the moment your freedom begins. And that right there is where the real battle starts. Not out there in the world, but inside, in your unconscious. And that's what we're going to dive into next, because transformation starts one level deeper. Here's the truth that most people avoid. You're not really in control of your life, at least not while you're living on autopilot. Not while you're reacting to everything without even knowing why. Not while your emotions come and go like storms and you keep making decisions you later regret. Carl Jung nailed it when he said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, It will direct your life, and you will call it fate. And that's exactly what's happening. That anger that shows up out of nowhere, that deep sadness you can't explain, that anxiety you feel even when things are going well. None of that is random. It's your inner world, your unconscious, trying to speak to you. These feelings are messages from parts of you that have been ignored, suppressed, or rejected. They're not broken, they're just unheard. Jung didn't see the unconscious as some vague fog in the back of your mind. No, it's a living system, a reservoir filled with your memories, fears, desires, and past traumas. And the more you try to bury all that stuff, the louder it tries to make itself known. Why do certain words completely shatter you while others brush them off like it's nothing? It's because those words hit something raw inside you, something you've never looked at, something you keep sweeping under the rug. But every time you do, you trip over it again. Jung said we cannot change anything unless we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. And that's what you've been doing, judging yourself, shutting yourself down, pretending you're fine when you're not, thinking if you just stay strong, it'll all go away. But here's the thing, the unconscious doesn't vanish because you ignore it. It adapts. It hides in self-sabotage. It repeats in your relationships. It whispers lies when you're alone. It controls your life until you shine a light on it. This isn't about bad luck. It's not about, why does this keep happening to me? It's your inner world demanding to be seen. So if you really want to stop getting hurt, stop running from yourself. Because the more you resist your inner pain, the more power it has over you. But when you finally start to face it, everything shifts. Becoming unshakable doesn't mean building walls or pretending not to care. It's not about resisting life, it's about knowing yourself so well that nothing outside of you can pull you off center. This isn't about hiding, it's about integration. True strength doesn't come from avoidance, it comes from awareness. That's what becoming untouchable really means, not cold, not distant, but deeply aware of your own shadows and not controlled by them anymore. Jung called this process individuation. It's the journey of becoming who you truly are, not who you've been pretending to be, not the version of you shaped by approval, fear, or trauma, but the version that's whole. This is not about perfection, it's about wholeness. You don't need to be better. You just need to be you fully. But listen, see this journey. It requires serious courage, the kind of courage to look at your own pain without flinching, to take off the masks, to finally feel what you've avoided for years, because hiding it hasn't healed it. And the pain, it's not your enemy. In fact, in the next part, we're going to explore something powerful, how your deepest pain can actually become the doorway to your true strength. It's time to stop fearing it and start listening to it. Are you ready to go even deeper? Let's talk about pain, real pain. Not the kind that's loud and obvious, the quiet kind, the kind that creeps in when you're alone, that stays even when life on the outside looks fine. You've been taught to hate it. Since you were little, the message was clear. Crying is weakness. Feeling too much makes you fragile. Suffering should be avoided at all costs. So you did what most people do. You started running. Distracting yourself, keeping busy, pretending you didn't feel what you felt. But pain doesn't vanish because you ignore it. It just changes shape. It becomes anxiety, it becomes frustration, it becomes boredom, burnout, or self-destructive habits you can't explain. Unacknowledged pain doesn't go away, it just digs deeper. And one day, without warning, everything inside you starts to collapse. But Jung saw suffering differently. To him, pain wasn't the enemy, it was a message, a call from the soul, a sign that something inside you is begging to be heard. He even said, Depression is like a lady in black. If she appears, don't send her away. Invite her in, offer her a seat, and listen to what she has to say. And yet, what do? We turn away. We silence ourselves. We scroll binge over work and pretend we're fine. But what is your pain really trying to say? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of your suffering comes from a battle within you. There's a part of you that's ready to grow, and another part terrified of change. You want to evolve, but your ego wants to cling to comfort, routine, safety. That's the tension. And that's where the pain is born. Because real growth, it's messy, it hurts. It asks you to shed old beliefs, cut toxic patterns, and let go of identities you've held for years. It feels like a death, and in many ways it is. A death of who you used to be. But in that death is the seed of something new. Because once everything you thought you were starts to break apart, once you're stripped of the roles, the masks, the ego, what's left is real. What's left is you. That's why pain is sacred, because it brings you to your knees. And it's in that moment, raw, exposed, real, that you finally stop performing and start being. Jung knew that suffering wasn't the end of the road. It was the beginning of what he called the journey of individuation. But let's be honest, most people don't make it through that journey. They quit. They go back to pretending. They keep living on the surface. But not you. If you've made it this far, it's because something in you is ready to go deeper. This is the moment, the choice to stop surviving and start transforming. Because once you start this journey, the world may not get easier, but you get stronger, not by becoming harder, but by becoming whole. You stop needing approval, you stop chasing validation, you stop fearing pain. And here's the beautiful twist: when you stop running from pain, it stops controlling you. That's where freedom is. It's not in perfection, it's in presence. And now, as we close this part of the journey, I want to ask you one thing. Are you willing to trade your illusion of safety for the truth of who you really are? If you're ready, write it in the comments. I choose awareness. Let's create a movement. People who are no longer pretending to be strong, but choosing to live with truth. And if this message hits something deep inside, you keep going. The next video in this series is crucial. Real transformation doesn't happen in one step. It happens when you don't stop. See you in the next part of the journey. We're just getting started.